Alright guys, here's our first sight reading lesson. If you have not watched the 3 videos of my philosophy on sight reading, you need to do that. It is key, it is fundamental to all that we're going to be doing here, and you need it. So watch those 3 videos. It's a little bit of a lecture. It's about half an hour, all 3 videos together. Do that first if you haven't, and then come back to this video. Alright, let's get started sight reading. And I'm assuming you know a little bit about piano already, okay? This is for people who know some music already. And even if you don't, you can probably still pick it up here. You may notice we're starting with bass clef. And that's all I have. I don't have any treble clef. And of course, bass clef is left hand. And why am I starting with left hand? Because all of us are weakest in the left hand, right? Do you feel like you know treble clef and you don't quite know bass clef as well, or not at all? Can't tell you how many times students have come in that have had lessons and they're starting again. They go, oh, I know the treble clef, but I stink at the bass clef. The reason for that is when we're learning piano, it always goes back to the beginning, our lessons with our first teacher. It's easy to fake the left hand. It's easy to see patterns because left hand tends to have patterns in chords, and it's easy to see the pattern in the chord and not really know what the notes are. Just play what, just kind of by trial and error, by a little guesswork, making the left hand sound okay. The right hand is usually more melodic, and it has the melody, and we tend to be more comfortable and familiar with it. So that's the reason for that. And that's also the reason why I'm taking away the treble clef on this first lesson, and we're just going to do bass. We're going to work on that first because that's probably what you're weakest on. Okay? Unless you're a bass clef instrument person and you play trombone or something, and you know the bass clef already. Anyway, and you also may notice we're only working the line notes, not the space notes yet. The reason for that is because a lot of times when we're playing left-hand patterns, we'll be doing chord patterns. And chord patterns will be a lot of times be line, 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 or space, 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 or line, 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 line if it's a 7th chord. So we're going to try to group those notes together in our mind. Now you may say, oh, I already know these. I don't need this. Yes, you do need it, because you don't know what we're going to do here. We're going to do some things with these notes that maybe you can't do. And if you can't do it, then you do need this. All right? First of all, we're not going to learn any jingles. We're not going to do good boys do fine always. Get that? We've got to get rid of that. I just want you to know, bottom line is a G on the piano right here. We're going to be a computer, okay? There's only 6 that I'm asking you to memorize. No jingles, no reference point. All right? I don't want you to count up from G every time you need to know another note. I don't want you to go here and go G. Oh, that's a G, so that must be 1, 2, a B. Oh, that's bad. That's so bad. We're not going to do that. We're not going to count up using a reference point or count down. We're going to know the notes individually. This is a G. Get that. Memorize that. Can you do that? That's just one note. G. All right, let's memorize another one. B, right here. Okay? Next line up is a B. Next line up is a D. Next line up is an F. Next line up is an A. And then finally we end on middle C. Okay, now hang on, we're going to get into some more stuff here that will be helpful to you. But just for those of you who don't even know what the names of the notes are on the staff for left hand on the lines, G, B, D, F, A, C. Now here's the thing. We're going to do this, we're going to do it without looking at our hand. It is key, it is very fundamental for sight reading for you to get comfortable playing the keys without having to look down every time, because that slows you down. Okay, we don't want to slow down, we don't want to stop, we don't want to interrupt that connection of page, eyes, hands, that just circular thing that's going to keep going. Every time you look down, we interrupt that, and you can't continue what you're doing. You have to have that little hiccup, that little stop there. So we're going to get that out. We're going to play these without looking. Now this is not a song on purpose. If it were a song, then all you people out there with good ears will learn it and memorize it, and you won't read it anymore. You'll just play what you hear. So this is not a song. But they're random line notes. But I'm going to play a backing track, something play with it while you're practicing your left-hand line notes, your bass clef line notes. That's going to sound kind of cool while you're playing it, so it's not so boring. Okay? So that's the idea here. Not looking at your hand, all right? And the second thing is knowing the name of the note when you play it. I want you to say it out loud. When you play that first one, I want you to say D out loud. I have a lot of people that I've taught that they can, you know, they know where the notes are on the keyboard, but they don't know some of the names sometimes, or it takes them a second. And that's just mind-boggling to me that you can take lessons for that long and not know the names of the notes. So say it out loud so it registers in your brain. So we all know, you know what the name of that note is. Okay? So this is what we're going to do. Here's exercise 1. It's just this one line right here. All right? The first one is what? Do you know automatically? Boom. Do you know it? Or did you have to go, good boys do fine always? Don't do that. Let's just memorize D is on the middle line. Okay? So I'm going to look down to see where I am to start with. All right, the next one is what? It's an A right up here. Now we don't want to look down. I guess I looked right there because I'm a little disadvantaged, guys. I'm not like I would when I would be playing. I'm this way. So if I look down, please forgive me. But D. Now we're going to go up to an A. And actually, before we start that, let's do this. Let's look at all our notes here. We have G, B, D, F. So get those notes under your fingers. G, B, D, F. Okay? That's 4 of them already. There's only 2 left. A and C. If we cross over and find A and C, okay? Kind of get a feel for where you are on the keyboard for those line notes. G, B, D, F, A, C. Alright, so if I play the first one with D and you say, well, what finger? It doesn't matter. Okay? If we're working on fingerings, when it really comes down to it, musicians use the fingering that feels best for them, and there can be many fingerings for one passage. You want to just start playing and get an idea, a feel for what would work for you, and eventually your hand will just start doing it, okay, the best fingering. So I don't care what finger you play the D with. You can play with your pinky or your middle finger, but the point is when you go to the A, okay, we want to feel for it. We want to feel that 5th. If you're on your pinky, then you know the thumb is on the A. Okay? And then we want to feel for the F. See, there's an F there. Now watch this. Watch what I do. D, A, F. I need to go to a G now, and that's way low. So what I'm going to do is I substitute. I put my thumb on there. I feel for it, and I feel that 7th down there. I feel how far away that G is. You need to be able to play this without looking down at your hand by feel. You know, if someone's blind or they can't see or it's dark and they're going through the house, they hold on to one thing and then they reach around for the next thing and then they hold on to that thing. And that's kind of the way you want to do when you're doing this, is feel for the notes so that you don't have to look down. So if I go through this first line and I do D, I say it out loud. D, A, F, see how I'm feeling? G, B. Now I got middle C, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch to my pinky right here and feel the octave B and then reach up one more for the C so that I know where it is without looking. F, D, I can feel it. B, C, G. That's a tough one, so I feel the C here and then I go like that. See how I felt for it? C, and I feel the octave and then I feel G and then D, G, B, G, F. I'm going to feel that 7th. And then B's right here. I can feel it. D, G, and then I know the G octave is right here, an octave, so I'll do that, and then I feel for the middle C. Okay? Now, this is not a song on purpose because we don't want our ears to get involved. If our ears get involved, then everything goes out the window because we want to work our eyes here, our sight reading, our thinking, of that reflex. It actually needs to be a reflex, you know. Now, if I go that fast, you know, that's tough. In all reality, we are going to look down sometimes to check, okay? That's going to happen, but not every note, okay? If it's over an octave, yeah, sneak a peek down real quick to look and then continue. But don't make that a habit of looking down every note. Now, so we're saying that top line, well, we got to stop here. Let's continue in lesson 2 in the next video.